Hey guys, it's Miss Bianchi. I hope all of you guys are doing well. I've missed you all so much and I can't wait until I can see you guys again. Today we will be reviewing what we did on Friday. So it is 7.3 part 2 day 2 and our learning target today is I can multiply polynomials and I can FOIL. Remember, foiling is just distributing. So if that trips you up, don't feel the need that you have to remember that it's first, outside, inside, last. Don't feel that you need to remember it like that. If it helps you to just double distribute, that's fine too. So looking at number 1, I have x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 7. And I'm going to look at my x first, and I'm going to distribute that to the first thing here, the first term, which is x. Then I'm going to distribute it again to the 7. Now, I know that x times x is x squared because this is really x to the first, and this is really x to the first. Remember, when the bases are the same, we add the exponent, so that's why I get x squared. And then x times 7 will give me 7x. Now, I have already distributed that twice, so I can move on to my 2. And that 2 is going to distribute to the x. So 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times 7 is going to give me 14. I like leaving a space here so that I can see my arrows and I know I've done all my steps. Now, looking at this problem, I know I'm not done yet because I do see 2 like terms here. So I'm going to bring my x squared down. And 7x's plus 2x's is going to give me 9x's. And that 14 is not going to combine with anything, so that's just going to get brought down as well. And I have positive 14. So that is my answer for number 1. You can go ahead and circle it or leave it, whatever helps you. Moving on to number 2, I wish I left myself more room right here. I'm going to distribute that x again twice, right? So that x is going to go to this x here. And it's also going to go to the 6. So x times x is going to give me x squared. And x times 6 is going to give me 6x. Now, very important that you pay close attention to what I'm about to do. This sign has to stay with that number. If you do not bring the negative sign with it, you're going to get a completely wrong answer. So make sure that you pay close attention to whatever sign is with the number or the variable, okay? So that negative 5 is going to go to the x now. Negative 5 times x is going to give me negative 5x's, okay? That's why it's important that you keep that sign. And then negative 5 is going to go to the 6. Negative 5 times 6 is going to give me negative 30. Now, I know I'm not done yet because I do see 2 like terms again. I'm going to bring my x squared down. Positive 6x's minus 5x's is going to give me positive x, or 1x if you want to write the 1 in front of it, it doesn't matter. And that negative 30 is going to get brought down. And now I'm done, and that's my answer. Notice I did leave a space right here for this one. Number 3, I have x squared plus 4 times the quantity x minus 2. I'm going to take my x squared, and I'm going to distribute that twice. So x squared times x. Remember, this is really x to the first power, right? Same basis, so I can add my exponents. So x squared times x is going to give me x to the third power. And then x squared times negative 2 is going to give me negative 2x squared. Remember, that sign has to stay with that 2. Otherwise, you're going to get the wrong answer. And now I can go to my second term, which is 4, and I can distribute that twice. 4 times x is 4x. And then 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Looking at this problem, I don't see anything that I can combine here. I do not have any like terms. So that is my answer. I'm all done. And I can move on to number 4. So for number 4, I have 6x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 4. I'm going to start with my 6x. And I am going to take that and distribute it to the x and distribute it to the 4. 6x's times x is going to give me 6x squared. And then 6x times 4 is going to give me positive 24x, because 6 times 4 is 24. And now I can take my negative 3 and distribute that twice. Negative 3 times x is going to give me negative 3x. And then negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So again, very important you keep that negative sign with a 3. I know I'm not done because in the middle, if you notice, you'll see a common pattern in the middle that I have to combine my like terms. So I have 24x's minus 3x's, and I know that that is 21x's. And everything else is going to get brought down. That was a positive 21x, so I can leave that positive, and then my negative 12 comes down as well. And that is my answer for that one. Number 5, I have 2x squared plus 2x cubed plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. I'm going to start with my 2x squared, and I'm going to distribute that here and here, so both terms, remember. 2x squared times x, remember this is really x to the first power. Same basis, so we can add the exponents. So 2x squared times x is going to give me 2x cubed. And then 2x times negative 1 is going to give me negative 2x squared. Now I'm all done with my first term, so I can move on to my next, or my 3. That 3 will go to the x. And I have 3 times x, which is positive 3x. And then I have 3 times negative 1, which is going to give me negative 3. Now I know that I'm done because I do not see any like terms here, so I'm all good for this problem. And I can go ahead and I can move on to my next one. All right, number 6. I have 3x squared plus 4 times the quantity 2x plus 2. Again, I'm going to start with my 3x squared term first, and I'm going to distribute that to my first term and my second term in that set of parentheses. So 3x squared times 2x's, remember this is really 2x to the first power. I'm going to multiply my 3 and my 2 first. I know that 3 times 2 is 6. And then my x squared times x to the first is going to give me x to the third power. And now I have to look at what it's going to do with my second term. So I have 3x squared times positive 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And then I'm left with my x squared. So make sure you write that down as well. Now I'm all done with my first term, so I got to move on to my second one. 4 is positive. So I'm going to do 4 times 2x. I know that 4 times 2 is 8, and I leave my x with it. And then I do 4 times positive 2, and again, 4 times 2 is 8. There is not a variable though, so it's just plus 8. And I do not see anything I can combine here. No like terms because the exponents are different. So that is my answer for number 6. Number 7, I have 4x plus 4 times the quantity 4x minus 2. Again, I'm going to start with my 4x first, and that is going to get distributed here and here. I am doing 4 times 4, which is 16. x times x is x squared. So 4x times 4x is 16x squared. Now I'm going to do 4x times my negative 2. Remember, very important that you keep that negative in front of the 2. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, but there is a variable here, so we have to make sure we write that down as well. And now I'm going to move on to my second term in my first set of parentheses. So I have 4, and that's going to get multiplied here and here, so both terms in the parentheses again. 4 times 4 is 16, but I have an x involved, so it's 4 times 4x is 16x's. And then 4 times negative 2 is going to be negative 8. Now I can combine here. My middle terms are the same, not the same, but they're like terms. So my 16x squared will come down. I have negative 8x's plus 16x's. So negative $8 in the bank, but then I get another $16. So I'm going to actually have a positive 8x here. And that negative 8 comes down. So I'm left with 16x squared plus 8x minus 8. And that is my answer. Number 8, I have x plus 3 times the quantity 2x plus 5. I am going to take my x and I am going to distribute it to the first term and the last term. X times 2 x's is going to give me 2x squared, because remember this is really x to the first, and I add my exponents. And then x times 5 is going to give me 5x's. 3 times 2x's, 3 times 2 is 6, but I do have an x involved. And then 3 times 5 is going to give me positive 15. I am not done. I do have 2 terms here that can combine because they're like terms. My 2x squared will get brought down. 5x's plus another 6x's will give me 11x's. And that positive 15 will just get brought down. So that is my answer for number 8. Number 9, I have x squared plus 1 times the quantity x minus 2. I am going to look at my x squared term and I am going to distribute that twice. X squared times x, remember this is really x to the first. Add the exponent so you'll get x to the 3rd power. X squared times negative 2 is just going to be negative 2x squared. Now I'm going to look at my 1 and I'm going to distribute that to both terms here. 1 times x is x. And then positive 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Again, make sure that you are paying attention to that sign with the negative 2 and that you keep it in front of the negative 2. I do not see anything I can combine here, so I know that I'm all good. So that's my answer for number 9. And my very last problem, number 10, I have x plus 3 times the quantity x plus 4. Looking at my x, I know that I am going to distribute it to the first term and then again to the last term. X times x is x squared because we add these exponents. And then x times 4 is going to give me 4x's. Now I can move on to this term here. I do have a positive 3. And that's distributing to the x and the 4. So positive 3 times x is going to give me positive 3x's. And then 3 times 4 is 12. But I know I'm not done because I do see these terms in the middle. And those can combine because they are like terms. So my x squared will come down. Positive 4x's plus another positive 3x's is going to give me 7x's. And then I can bring down my positive 12. So that is my answer. If you guys have any questions, please make sure that you email me or Mr. Coopers and that you are following our office hours as well. We'll do our best to make sure that you guys are, enjoying this transition and that everything's making sense. So just know that I missed you and I hope all of this makes sense, and I can't wait to see all of you guys again. Bye, guys.